9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
Girls pitching downrange.
Stage 1 chamber pressure is nominal.
We're just about 40 seconds into flight. Falcon 9 clearing the tower at Space Launch Complex 40 and making its way to orbit. We are currently throttling down the Merlin 1D engines on the first stage in preparation for the point of max Q. That's the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Maximum aerodynamic pressure is the point when the highest stresses are experienced by the vehicle during the ascent.
Q.
With that, we are through the highest stresses on the vehicle. Coming up, we've got several events back to back. The first of those is main engine cutoff, or MECO. There we'll shut down the 9 Merlin 1D engines in preparation for stage separation. Stage separation is where pneumatic pushers will separate the first and second stages. And then we'll have second engine start number 1. You just heard a call out for MVAC chill-in, so we've begun chilling in the turbopumps in preparation to start the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. While the second stage engine is burning, the first stage will be performing a flip maneuver, and then it will do a boost back burn. That boost back burn will ignite 3 of the Merlin 1D engines to make the first stage's way back towards land, since we are attempting a land landing today with this first stage. So again, those events back to back: MECO, stage separation, first stage flip, second engine start number 1, and then the boost back burn.
Stage 1 shutdown.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
Stage 1 boost back startup.
So there is those 5 events. Awesome shots from the ground. You can see the first stage boosting away. That was on the left part of your screen, and the second stage continuing to burn. Now this burn on the first stage will last about 47 seconds. And the second on the right-hand side of your screen, we've got a ground view of stage 1. You can see the center engine has ignited.
Stage 1 landing burn.
We'll expect to see the 4
Stage
landing
2
legs
terminal
deployed
guidance
for a soft touchdown at landing zone 1. Now during this, we'll also hear a call out of second engine cutoff on the second stage.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
SECO.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
So landing is complete. We also heard a call out there for SECO.
nominal parking orbit.
SECO is second engine cutoff number 1. We just heard a call out as well for nominal parking orbit. And with that, we have landed the Falcon 9. It's our 161st landing of an orbital class rocket. This booster's 15th. Now coming up, our next major event will be in about 45 minutes. That is for second engine start number 2.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines full power. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go Falcon, go OneWeb 2.
Pitching downrange.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral, carrying the OneWeb Launch 16 mission payload. Now, during ascent, we tilt the engines, which is what we call gimbaling.
Nominal power and telemetry.
That turns the rocket horizontally, which is what we call a gravity turn. Now, we're still going up, but we are now also heading horizontally away from the launch pad.
Vehicle supersonic.
Moments ago, we did throttle down the engines on the first stage in preparation for Max Q, which is coming up here in a few seconds.
Max Q.
Great news, we have just passed through the largest structural load that the vehicle sees on ascent. Really awesome views here of the first stage vehicle. Now, the rocket typically needs to go 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and to get into orbit. So you can keep an eye out on the stage 1 telemetry, and that's on the bottom left hand of your screen. Again, incredible views of the first stage vehicle, first stage engines lighting up there. We do have 5 events coming up here back to back. That will be MECO, main engine cutoff, stage separation, stage 1 flip, SES-1, the boost back burn on the first stage, and then we will also have the fairing halves deploy. Again, that is a few events happening in quick succession: MECO, stage separation, stage 1 flip, SES-1, boost back burn, and fairing deploy.
And MECO. Stage separation confirmed.
And back ignition. Stage 1, boost back startup.
There, we have just seen all of those events, really cool views. We had MECO, stage separation, stage 1 flip, which you can kind of see in the background of the second stage vehicle's view. Awesome view here of the first stage in its boost back burn right now. We also had second stage engine startup 1, which is that MVAC engine lighting up on the right-hand screen. There you can see the landing burn has begun on Falcon 9. Let's watch as the first stage touches down on landing zone 1.
Landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Wow, an awesome view of our landing. As you just saw, Falcon 9 has touched down on landing zone 1. That marks SpaceX's 162nd recovery of an orbital class rocket.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
And that includes first stage landings for both Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine full power. And liftoff of USSF 67. Go Falcon Heavy. Go Space Force.
Booster chamber pressures are nominal.
T plus 40 seconds into flight under the power of 5 million pounds of thrust.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Falcon Heavy is headed to space. Now we did throttle down the engines around the T plus 40 second
Vehicle
mark
supersonic.
in preparation for Max Q.
Max Q.
And great call out there that we have passed through Max Q. That's the largest mechanical stress on the vehicle on ascent. And incredible, incredible views there on your screen. Falcon Heavy in flight. Now next events coming up will be booster engine cutoff, or BECO, followed by separation of the side boosters and followed by their side booster boost back burns. And then will be center core main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO. Again, those events coming up here just under a minute away. That will be BECO. That's where the side boosters engines will shut down. The center core will push those side boosters away from the vehicle. Then those two side boosters can begin to make their way back down to Earth with their boost back burns. And on your right-hand screen, you could see the views from each of those side boosters. Really incredible views here. Again, we will have BECO, side booster, boost back burn, followed by main engine cutoff of the center core here in just a few seconds.
Side booster separation.
Side core booster startup.
Incredible views. We just had BECO and separation of the side boosters, and you can see on your left-hand screen that the side boosters have lit back up. They are now in their boost back burn, making their way back down to Earth. Now, those side boosters are returning to Florida under the power of 3 engines. That's 3 of the 9 M1D engines. So next up will be the conclusion. Next up will be the conclusion of those side booster boost back burns, followed by MECO on the center core, as well as stage separation of the center core and the second stage, and then SES-1 or second stage engine start 1. Now, as I mentioned previously, per the request of our customer, we won't be showing second stage views after SES-1. And additionally, our center core or stage 1 is expendable today, so we will not be attempting to recover that vehicle, but we should have some great views like we are seeing right now.
Side core boost back shut down.
We should have some great views of those side boosters touching down for landing.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC startup.
And excellent views. We had the
Stage 1 FTSSA has safed.
We did have the shutdown of the
Acquisition
boost
signal.
back burn. We did have the shutdown of the boost back burns on the side boosters, as well as MECO on that center core and stage separation. We are waiting for confirmation of a call out of the fairing separation.
All vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
So currently stage 2 is still making its way to its targeted drop-off orbit, while the side boosters are making their way back down to land. Again, these side boosters have another burn coming up. That will be the entry burn. That will be 3 of 9 M1D engines reigniting. That helps to slow the boosters down in preparation or as they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. We got some views here from those side boosters there on your screen. Now, at the time of separation, the side boosters were traveling slow enough to turn around and make their way back to land, to our side-by-side landing pads. If we have successful landings today, we'll mark the 163rd and 164th landing of an orbital-class rocket. As I mentioned earlier, the center core will be expendable, and we are not attempting to recover it today.
Side core entry burn startup.
And there you can see on your screen the entry burns for these side boosters have begun. They're just about 12 seconds long.
Side core
PY
entry burn
FTS
shutdown.
has saved, and NY FTS has saved.
And the entry burns for both side boosters have now concluded. Now next up will be the final burn for each of these side boosters. That is the landing burn. It is just a single engine burn, the center E9 engine. Each one of these M1D engines have about 190,000 pounds of thrust. So that is enough to slow the vehicle down just in time for landing. And you could see the coast of Florida in the background.
Side boosters are transonic.
Now that landing burn coming up here in just about 20 seconds or so. Landing burn will last about 20 seconds long. Again, we are scheduled to land on landing zone 1 and landing zone 2.
Landing burn.
And there are those landing burns have begun on the side boosters. So let's watch as they touch down.
Stage 2 is on thermal guidance. Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Booster landing leg deployed.
And what an incredible sight to see as we watch the side boosters touch down for landing. That confirms successful landing of both Falcon Heavy side boosters on landing zone 1 and landing zone 2. Now with these two side boosters, this marks the 163rd and 164th overall successful landing of an orbital class rocket. It's also the 25th landing on landing zone 1 and the 6th landing on landing zone 2. And with successful confirmation of our side boosters landing, that will bring today's webcast to
Nominal
a
orbit
close.
insertion.
Now, we'd like to thank the United States Space Force for entrusting us with today's mission. Thank you to the Range and the Federal Aviation Administration for licensing today's launch. And we'd like to thank all of you, our viewers, for tuning in. Now, if you're interested, head over to our website and social media platforms for updates on our next missions and milestones. We hope that you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again soon.
Three, two, one. Engine full power. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go GPS, go Falcon.
Vehicle touching downrange.
Stage 1 chamber pressure is nominal.
As you can see, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying the GPS-3 Space Vehicle 6 payload. M1D engines are about to throttle down in preparation for the maximum loads that the vehicle will experience. That'll occur just after T-minus 1 minute, known as a couple hundred miles off the coast of Florida in the Atlantic Ocean.
Seco.
There we just heard the call out for a second engine cutoff. Let's see if we stick the landing with the first stage.
Landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
All right, there we heard the call out that we have that stage 1 landing confirmed.
Expected loss of signal, Cape.
Weather is looking great all around off the coast of Florida there. Beautiful view of that first stage landing.
Spacecraft separation confirmed.
And there we heard the call out, and you can see there on your screen, we have a successful payload deployment. So with that beautiful view, we will bring our webcast to a close.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines full power. And liftoff of Starlink 2-4. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds, successful liftoff of Falcon 9 from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg at 7:43 a.m. Pacific time. We had some fantastic views from the ground, and now we're looking at a great view
Nominal power
from
and
the
telemetry.
first stage's onboard camera as we pop through the cloud layer.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Now we're traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
And there we are through the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure. That's the highest stresses that we'll feel during the flight. Now we are about 1 minute away from several events back to back. The first of those will be MECO, that's main engine cutoff.
Engine chill has started.
Followed by a stage separation, and then SES-1 and fairing separation. So MECO is where we shut down all 9 of the Merlin engines in preparation for separating the stages at stage sep. And then at second engine start number 1, we'll ignite the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. Shortly after that, we will separate the fairing halves and return them to planet Earth while the second stage continues with our Starlink satellites to space. And those events back to back, MECO, stage separation, second engine start number 1, followed by fairing separation.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And with that, we had successful MECO stage separation. You can see the Merlin vacuum is ignited and even saw the fairing half there in the shot. We're looking at a live view right now. On the left-hand side of your screen is Falcon 9's first.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Started a single Merlin engine on the first stage. We'll expect to see the landing legs deploy shortly.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Successful landing of Falcon 9's first stage. You also heard a call out there for MVAC shutdown.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines full power. And liftoff of Starlink 5-2. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
Station downrange.
As you can see, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying 56 Starlink satellites. Now, the M1D engines on the first stage are about to throttle down in preparation for max Q, or
Power and telemetry nominal.
or the moment of maximum loads on the vehicle, which occurs just after T plus 1 minute.
Supersonic.
Falcon 9 is now traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
And there, Falcon 9 has reached the maximum dynamic pressure that it will feel during flight. At this point, we're about 1 minute until main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation and second engine start. Those events happen in very quick succession, one right after the other. Following along with the telemetry at the bottom left-hand side of your screen, we can see that Falcon 9 is now 36 kilometers above the Earth's surface, quickly gaining.
Go.
Stage separation confirmed.
And back ignition.
Bearing separation confirmed.
Right, and there's our first look of our Starlink satellite payload this evening on there, formerly on the right-hand side of your screen. Right-hand side will be that second stage tracking camera. Left-hand side of your screen will be on our drone ship.
Stage 1 landing burn.
That landing burn has now begun.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing is confirmed.
There we can see on the left-hand side of your screen that the first stage has stuck the landing once again.
Shutdown.
Great view from our drone ship just made the instructions. Parked a couple hundred miles off the coast of Florida.
Orbit insertion.
And we also
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines full power. And liftoff of Starlink 2-6. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
M1D chamber pressure is nominal.
Now at T plus 30 flight, you can see Falcon 9 is fully lifted off from 4 East AM Pacific time.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Falcon 9 is now traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
There we heard the call out for max Q, indicating that the vehicle has passed through the maximum dynamic pressure that it will feel during flight. We're about a minute away from main engine cutoff, stage separation, and SES1, which will all happen in quick succession. There we heard the call out for MVAC chill, indicating that that second stage engine, the MVAC, or Merlin vacuum engine, preparing for its ignition. Now those three events that will happen one right after another, that will be then followed by fairing separation just a few seconds later. As the name indicates, MECO, or main engine cutoff, is where all 9 of those Merlin engines on the first stage will shut down. Stage separation is where the first and second stages will separate, and then SES1, or second engine start 1, is where we will ignite that Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
There you can see all 3 of those events happening one right after another, including with a successful second stage ignition. There on the left-hand side of your screen, we can see those grid fins deploying. Those will help steer the vehicle back down for a precise landing on
Fairing separation confirmed.
gorgeous view of that fairing separation, exposing our payloads to the vacuum of space. There you can see one of those fairing halves falling away behind in the background there on the right-hand side.
Stage 1 landing burn.
There we can see the landing burn has begun for the first stage, targeting a landing on our drone ship. Of course, I still love you.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
There you can see Falcon 9 has successfully landed on our drone ship. Of course, I still love you.
MVAC shut down.
Marking the 106